From the homes their fathers made, from the graves the tall trees shade. For the sake of greed and gold, the Cherokees were forced to go to a land they did not know.
Hello, my name is Christa Trebes, and I will be presenting the topic of the Trail of Tears from the years 1836 through 1838. During this presentation, I would like for all of you to keep in mind the two terms structural racism and oppression. In the years between 1830 and 1850, there was already conflict between white colonizers and Native American tribes due to the fact that the colonizers have been invading native land. Colonizers thought that the natives weren't civilized as they were, and in an attempt to whitewash them, they forced the indigenous to become more like the colonizers, forcing them to go to school, church, wear different clothes, and even obtaining slaves of their own. The tribes that were victim to these practices were the Cherokee, Creek, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Seminole. When Andrew Jackson became president in 1829, his desire to remove the Native Americans from their land was growing just as much as most of the other colonizers. This ended up leading the president to sign what is known as Andrew Jackson's Indian Removal Act of 1830. This act removed any claim the Native Americans had to their land and therefore allowed Jackson and the colonizers to move the tribes west so that they could obtain the land the natives had and expand their territories. This removal was not pretty, and each tribe has a different story. Some indigenous stood their ground, some forced out of their homes, some put into concentration camps, some victims of rape and slavery, but most were forced to walk the 5,043 miles from North Carolina to Oklahoma so the white man could get their land. Most were only able to bring the clothes they had on their back. Many were separated from their families. The weather conditions were brutal. They starved, were exposed to sickness and diseases they have never experienced before, and they were forced to witness their brothers and sisters falling and dying beside them. The Trail of Tears correlates to two of the terms that we learned in our class: structural racism and oppression. Structural racism because of the discriminatory whitewashing of indigenous tribes, and oppression because of the unjust controlling ways of the white colonizers over those long 20 years.